Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Teigan and today is book 4 of the short story. I mean, it's the 4th of December, of course it'd be the 4th book. But today's story was 4 minutes and 33 pairs of sweatpants by Martin Riker. Now, if you don't know who Martin Riker is, he is the author of the novel Samuel Johnson's Internal Return. His fiction and criticism have appeared in places like the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, London Review of Books, TLS, Paris Review, and The Baffler. His wife and himself runs a feminist publishing house called Dorothy, and this short story initially appeared in The Baffler. The story starts off that this person is talking to you about a mildly famous person that they know, and kind of is talking to you about their experience with that person before they were famous, basically, and also the struggles, because they, to preface this book, it's about musicians. In fact, the beginning line is, "You're both musicians, so I'll put it to you in musical terms." I'm struggling to talk about this book. I don't know if I just struggled to talk about short stories, or I just haven't had a short story that I've connected with yet, because this story is this woman talking about her experiences with two people in particular, one of them called Byron Brandt, and the other one is Peter Smith, who she used to date when they were much younger and still struggling artists. Now, the book talks about how this woman then is, she has four jobs to be able to live, because, money is required for living. And it talks about the frustration. It's hard to say what this book talks about, because it's another book, I just didn't understand what its point was. Reading the interview with the author, I still don't really know what he's trying to say. He was interested in the idea that corniness could be aesthetically subversive, and he's saying about how he's always had a knee-jerk reaction against being cool, whether it's like cool in the mainstream ways or cool in the antisocial ways, and he was considering the corniness as the opposite of cool might represent the last truly subversive stance. Honestly, I don't understand what he's trying to say in this. He's trying to figure out if I could make it a kind of fiction that was corny but not just silly. I don't understand. The book feels like it's trying to be subversive, subjective on a narrative that I just don't understand. And maybe it's because I don't really understand what was going on in the book. Objectively, understanding what was going on, there was this girl, she ran into this guy who would preach about things that she found distasteful. At one point, she's having a bad day and decides to basically argue her point to this dude before going to work. So the person who was doing the preaching was Byron, and he was saying that music was alpha discourse. It was the creme de la discourse because it said nothing, and nothing is the superior thing to say. This message then comes later on in the book. Basically, the person that we're talking to, this woman who's discussing her life with us, talks about how she got relatively successful with a musical theatrical piece that she made called 4 minutes and 33 pairs of sweatpants, where the piece came about because she was frustrated with Peter, the now mildly famous one, because whenever she came home from work, he didn't work, so she would come home and he would be in a pair of sweatpants, and she found this frustrating. So she wrote this theatrical, I can't say if it's a theatrical piece or a musical piece or a mixture of both, but she writes the artwork, and it's where someone has to put on 33 pairs of sweatpants before they can then play a bit of music that they have complete creative freedom. There's a bunch of different types of instruments there, and this became popular, this piece. No one was able to play the music because it was too difficult to put on 33 pairs of sweatpants, take them on, take them off within the 4 minutes. And it became popular. As it became popular, Peter, the person in her life, left, which she didn't really mind. And then at some point, Byron, the guy from the beginning who was always talking nonsense, or in her perspective was talking nonsense, came in, put on the pairs of sweatpants, did it all, and then had about 25 seconds remaining, and he stood there and did nothing and did not play any music, which is what the point of the piece was about, her artwork. And she gets quite annoyed at this and basically describes it as akin to him spitting in her face. So she left that night and it kind of died off. People lost interest. And then she, at the end of the book, is saying how she has no animosity towards either of them. I still don't understand it, and I think this is I'm struggling to relate to any of these short stories, and I don't know if I'm the only one or if this is just I'm just dumb and not understanding these. It's just they're all very different from each other. It's all interesting, but I'm not interested, if that makes sense. I don't get it. I don't understand. I feel like this book is basically trying to say things, and for me at least, it doesn't. It's just a bit nonsensical, and I guess that's day 4. I think part of the problem is I'm very much a fantasy reader. I like reading fantasy and having these fantastical elements in stories. And so far out of the 4 that I've read, nothing has been particularly fantastical. It all feels like it's trying to make a statement, and maybe that's the point in short stories. Like I said, I haven't really read any short stories to be able to compare. I'm going to keep reading these books because it is something different from what I've read, but I'm hoping that's something I can either relate to or it sparks my interest, because I'm very much at the point of I'm just reading them and then going like, okay, what now kind of spiel. Yeah, I like the ideas of the advent calendar. I think it's really cool that you could basically just get like from all these different authors, like at the moment all of which I've never heard of before, and that you kind of get to read. It's one thing though, again with the interview though, so maybe it's not just me, but I feel like it is at least part of my problem. The interview with the author, they ask what to you makes short story a special form? What can it do that other writing can't? And this is actually a chapter from a larger novel that he wrote. And the author said that he finds himself incapable of writing short stories. This is not an opinion about the form, just a fact about himself. So basically he doesn't write short stories. I don't know. I'm hoping there'll be at least one story out of 25 that I'm just like, yes, I love this. I have not found that yet. But, you know, we're only on 4 of 25. Still got a bunch more to try. With that being said though, that's my thoughts on day 4 of the short story advent calendar. I hope you're having a good day. Hope you're staying safe, staying awesome, and see you guys in my next video. Bye.